When people talk about Cold War battle rifles, one name always sparks debate, admiration, and controversy: the M14. Born at the dawn of a new global standoff between superpowers, the M14 was America's answer to the evolving battlefield of the 1950s and 1960s. It was powerful, accurate, beautifully crafted, and yet, in many ways, a rifle caught between two eras of warfare. The story of the M14 begins after World War II. The United States had just witnessed the effectiveness of semi-automatic rifles like the M1 Garand. Soldiers loved the Garand for its power and reliability, but military planners wanted something more modern. They wanted a rifle that could fire the new 7.62 x 51mm NATO cartridge, accept detachable box magazines, and provide both semi-automatic and fully automatic fire. The result, after years of experimentation and refinement, was the M14, officially adopted by the U.S. military in 1959. At first glance, the M14 looks like an evolution of the M1 Garand, and that's because it is. It retained the classic wooden stock, the long-stroke gas piston system, and the overall silhouette that defined America's World War II infantry rifle. But underneath, it featured important upgrades: a 20-round detachable magazine, select fire capability, and compatibility with the standardized NATO round, which was seen as essential for alliance warfare during the Cold War. On paper, the M14 was nearly perfect. Chambered in 7.62 NATO, it delivered excellent stopping power and impressive effective range. In semi-automatic mode, it was extremely accurate, capable of engaging targets out to 500 meters and beyond. In skilled hands, it could reach even farther. This made it ideal for traditional battlefield engagements and for marksman roles. However, the battlefield was changing rapidly. When the M14 was deployed to Vietnam in the early 1960s, it faced a very different kind of war. Dense jungle, close-range ambushes, and guerrilla tactics revealed the rifle's weaknesses. The 7.62 round, while powerful, produced heavy recoil, especially in full auto mode. Controlling the M14 in automatic fire was difficult, and most soldiers found it nearly uncontrollable during sustained bursts. In reality, many troops used it almost exclusively in semi-auto. Weight was another issue. The M14 weighed around 9.2 pounds unloaded. Add ammunition, and the burden increased quickly. The 7.62 NATO cartridge itself was heavier than the smaller caliber rounds that would soon follow. This meant soldiers could carry fewer rounds into combat compared to what would later be possible with 5.56mm rifles. Despite these drawbacks, many soldiers respected the M14 for its reliability and power. It could penetrate cover better than lighter caliber rifles and performed well in open terrain. In long-range engagements, it had clear advantages. But Vietnam exposed a fundamental truth. Modern infantry combat was shifting toward lighter weapons, higher ammunition capacity, and controllable automatic fire. This shift led to the controversial replacement of the M14 with the M16 rifle. The transition was not smooth. Early M16 rifles faced reliability problems that damaged their reputation. During this period, some soldiers even wished for their M14s back. The debate between 7.62 power and 5.56 lightweight efficiency became one of the defining small arms discussions of the Cold War. Officially, the M14's frontline service life as the standard U.S. infantry rifle was short, barely 5 years. But that was far from the end of its story. Instead of disappearing, the M14 found a second life in specialized roles. Its inherent accuracy made it perfect for designated marksman and sniper configurations. Variants like the M21 sniper system emerged, using the M14 platform with precision optics for enhanced long-range capability. Decades later, updated versions such as the Mk14 enhanced battle rifle would appear, featuring modern chassis systems, optics rails, and adjustable stocks. These upgrades brought the Cold War rifle into the 21st century battlefield. In conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan, the 7.62 NATO cartridge regained relevance. Mountainous terrain and longer engagement distances highlighted the limitations of lighter calibers. Once again, the M14 proved that while it may have been ahead of its time in some ways and outdated in others, it still had a place in modern warfare. Technically speaking, the M14 operates using a gas-operated, rotating bolt system. It feeds from a 20-round detachable box magazine and fires at a cyclic rate of roughly 700 to 750 rounds per minute in automatic mode. Its effective range typically sits around 500 meters for point targets, though experienced marksmen can push it much further. The rifle's iron sights are widely praised for their precision, offering fine windage and elevation adjustments uncommon in many service rifles. Another defining characteristic of the M14 is its craftsmanship. Early models featured walnut stocks and high-quality steel components. Many enthusiasts consider it one of the last traditionally machined American service rifles before widespread adoption of aluminum receivers and polymer furniture. There's a certain old-world feel to it, solid, substantial, and powerful. Yet this traditional construction also made it expensive and time-consuming to produce. Compared to the stamped and forged designs that followed, the M14 represented the end of an era in military rifle manufacturing. As warfare modernized, efficiency and cost-effectiveness became increasingly important. Globally, the influence of the M14 extended beyond the United States. Other nations observed its design and performance as NATO standardized ammunition and doctrine. While many countries adopted different rifles, the 7.62 NATO battle rifle concept remained dominant throughout much of the Cold War. Rifles like the FN FAL and the G3 also reflected this philosophy of long-range power and robust construction. The M14 symbolizes a transitional moment in military history. It bridged World War II doctrine and modern infantry tactics. It carried the legacy of the M1 Garand into a new geopolitical era defined by nuclear tension, proxy wars, and rapid technological change. But it also demonstrated that technological evolution in warfare can move faster than expected. Today, the M14 remains in limited service in designated marksman roles, and it continues to be popular among civilian shooters and collectors. Its combination of accuracy, power, and historical significance gives it lasting appeal. For many, it represents the final chapter of the classic American battle rifle before the age of lightweight assault rifles took over. So why does the M14 still matter? Because it tells a story about adaptation, about how militaries respond to new threats and environments. It reminds us that no weapon exists in a vacuum. Every rifle reflects the doctrine, technology, and strategic thinking of its time. The M14 was designed for large-scale conventional warfare in Europe, yet it was tested in jungle insurgency. That clash between expectation and reality shaped the future of infantry weapons development. In many ways, the M14 was both a success and a lesson learned. It delivered outstanding accuracy and power but proved that controllability and logistics can outweigh raw ballistic performance. It showed that lighter ammunition and higher capacity could redefine infantry combat. And yet, decades later, when long-range precision is needed, the old warhorse still steps forward. The Cold War era was defined by tension and rapid innovation, and the M14 stands as a physical embodiment of that period. Strong, traditional, and powerful, yet overtaken by the speed of change. It remains one of the most iconic rifles ever fielded by the United States military. If you're interested in military history, small arms evolution, and the ongoing debate between power and practicality, the story of the M14 offers valuable insight. It's not just about a rifle. It's about how warfare evolves, how doctrine shifts, and how even short-lived service weapons can leave a lasting legacy on the battlefield.